You're good? Okay. Sandy, you're fine? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today is the first day of July 2021. This is our weekly community development meeting with the Board of County Commissioners and Civil Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Pat Braden, officially calling this meeting to order. Attending in person, Commissioners Duncan and Filios, joining us by conference phone, Commissioner Bill Brooks. And I'm going to ask Vlad, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, then. Any potential conflicts of interest?
Nope.
Hearing none. Changes to the agenda? None. Moving on, and we have two deliberations. They're action items. The first one is case number VAR, stands for variance, 21-0002, a request by Travis and Kimberly Roth for a 10-acre variance to the 10-foot. Did I say?
Acre. It's okay.
The brain and the mouth are disconnected. Okay. For a 10-foot variance to the 25-foot front yard setback requirement from a public right-of-way on an approximately 0.19 acre parcel of land in the restricted residential zone. Zach, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Planner Zach Martino for the record, presenting a request by,
That's your microphone.
Got it. Thank you. Presenting a request for a 10-foot variance to the 25-foot front yard setback requirement. This is a small 7,000 square foot lot along the southeast shoreline of Lower Twin Lake, near the Twin Lakes Village Golf Course development. It's not a shoreline lot. It's right across a public right-of-way from shoreline lots. And the applicant has owned this parcel since June 2020, lives across the right-of-way in residence, and hopes to construct a personal storage building to use as a garage. Now, the lot is a bit unusual in that it's triangular shaped. All 75 lots, out of the 75 lots in Percy Cochran Beach, this is the only triangular shaped lot, and that irregular shape is a large reason for this request. If I go to the site plan here, you can see that the garage is going to be a 988 square feet, typical garage size, but because of the triangular shape, there's no rear yard. There are just the front and then two sides. So you have a 25-foot front yard setback requirement and then two 10-foot side yard setback requirements. And so a lot of the buildable area is taken up by what would be the 25-foot front yard setback. And so the reason for this 10-foot variance is to allow a buildable area that could accommodate a garage. And so there is no slope component to this. It's a flat lot. It's really just lot size and lot shape that the applicant is claiming cause undue hardship. And Cochrane Lane is a privately maintained road, but it is within a public right-of-way. And so the setbacks are measured from the edge of that right-of-way, not the edge of the roadway. And so the building as proposed would be 15 feet from the edge of the right-of-way, approximately 35 to 40 feet from the edge of the actual roadway. These are some photos of the site, a couple in winter and then one in spring. It's like I said, flat. There is a vegetation buffer between where the building would go and the parcels to the east. Directly to the east is a tract owned by the Twin Lakes Village Homeowners Association. You can see the adjacent residence here. This photo, just worth noting, before this residence, there's actually another lot. So the actual lot boundary is just on the other side of this equipment here. And so that where the car is parked is where the driveway would be. We have reached out to agencies, and there was no concern or opposition. The fire district just noted that the applicant will have to conform with fire district requirements and not obstruct the right-of-way. Nothing that is being proposed would seem to do that. Lakes Highway District had no objection. We did receive one response in opposition after the staff report was prepared, but prior to the last public hearing. That was noted at the hearing. The opposition involved concerns over quality of life and visual impact. We also received another neutral response Staff believes that the request is appropriate based on the lot size and irregular lot shape to allow for construction and use of this site. It seems to be a reasonable request. Furthermore, it doesn't appear to conflict with the public interest. As far as the visual aspect of the structure, there is some substantial vegetation screening, and it would be consistent with kind of the character of the neighborhood. It's going to be a pole structure used for residential storage of equipment, vehicles, that sort of thing. There won't be outdoor storage pursuant to our performance standards. So staff feels that it is an appropriate request. The hearing examiner agrees and recommended approval. Worth noting, because this is a structure on a lot less than 1 acre that does not have a primary use established, special notice permit will be required. We've already been talking to the applicant about that process if the variance were to be approved. And so that would be a next step. But this is just a kind of a rough rendering, not to the foot, but what the structure would look like and how that would be situated on the lot. And I stand for any questions that you have at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I do have
Please
a
go
question.
right
for
ahead.
staff. Zach, why didn't they apply for? Oh, never mind. Answer my own question. Have they applied? Actually, my question is: have they applied for the special notice permit yet?
Not yet, but the pre-application meeting has been held with another planner. So they're getting ready to do that pending. They want to wait until they know whether the variance will be granted or not.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for Vlad?
For Zach.
Zach, okay. Sorry, Vlad, you're in my line of sight. Zach, I do have a question. Do you know when they purchased it?
June 2020.
Oh,
Yes, relatively recently.
okay. All right.
Yes.
Anything else, Bill?
No, I've had all my questions in, and seen the document prepared by hunting and zoning and work code.
Okay, then. So we're in deliberations, so I guess I can entertain a motion.
Oh, do you want to deliberate, or are you just ready for a motion?
Is there?
So it's probably good to deliberate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
go right ahead.
fine. I'm fine with this request because the unusual lot shape and the fact that they're still 35 feet away from the road, just because of the way the setback ends up. So I don't see that this is going to cause any type of problem for the neighborhood.
I guess, Bill, you already opined.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have an issue with it. I'm going to raise the issue that I've raised before. People are purchasing lots. Some of the purchases are recent, and they're coming in for variances. And I understand it, and I don't necessarily have an issue with this, but I continue to insist that the message is going out that says, buy the lot, worry about dealing with the county later. And I've seen it repeatedly. I've even seeing it now with a neighbor, but I don't have an issue with it other than that. And that, to me, that's a broader issue, or a broader question that has to be taken up at another time. But I'm fine. Motion.
I move that we approve case number VAR 21-0002, which is a request by Travis and Kimberly Roth for a 10-foot variance.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Chair Philios.
Aye. And the motion is carried. VAR 21-0002 is approved.
And I have a question for David. I believe that planning and zoning is actually taking up this issue as far as the neighborhoods that we frequently see variances for.
Yes, we're looking at it two ways. In short order, we'll have a code amendment in front of you to beef up the criteria by which the planners review and you decide on a variance. A. B, we are looking at overlays, and there's at least a half dozen parts of the county that would be
Appropriate.
possibilities.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. All right. Second item, case number MSP 20, which is for a major subdivision, MSP 20-0002, Hoodoo Valley North. A request by JB Dodge Company LLC for preliminary approval of a major subdivision consisting of 66 residential lots and one utility tract on 335.89 acres in the rural zone. Vlad, is this one yours?
Correct. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Vlad Finkel with Kootenai County Community Development. The subject property is located in the northern part of Kootenai County, south of Highway 54. Specifically, it's just east of Ramsey Road and north of Remington Road. Access to the subject property will be via two newly constructed private or public roads. One is Pulaski off of Ramsey Road, and the second access road is Archer Road off of Remington Road. These are two newly constructed roads that have been dedicated to Lakes Highway District from the most recent plats, Hoodoo Valley 5th and 6th edition. These are minor subdivisions that were recently approved by Community Development Director. In those two cases, the applicant dedicated a right-of-way and constructed the roads to provide access to this large tract of land. As you can see, it's fairly flat. It does have some vegetation. It was recently logged. The zoning for this parcel is rural, as you can see based on the assessor's polygon map. There are numerous parcels of land that have been subdivided in recent years. They're all approximately 5 acres in size or greater. The comp plan designation for this piece of property is country. Country designation does allow for subdivisions. This is the layout of the subdivision and the interior roads. As you stated, this is a 66 lot residential subdivision. In fact, I would say this is probably the largest and the most dense subdivision that the department has processed in recent years. It will be constructed in 6 phases. The county does have provisions in the code that stipulate how phasing can be approved and recorded with timing. The subdivision will be served with individual wells on each lot and individual septics. Through the course of the agency comment period, we had gone back and forth with several agencies to make sure that we had everything we needed to move forward to a public hearing. These are some of the photos of the property in question along Highway 54 as well as on the site itself. It's fairly easy to develop it because it's flat and does not require much disturbance except for the actual construction of the interior roads. The roads will be constructed by the applicant to meet the Associated Highway District standards, and it will be dedicated to the Highway District. The Highway District has agreed to those conditions. These are the agencies that we solicited comments from. I must note that the applicant had gone back and forth with Lakes Highway District on a couple different occasions to make sure that the Highway District concerns were satisfied, one of which was the actual design of the interior roads as well as access to adjoining parcels and the traffic impact study to address the level of service of the adjoining public roads. We believe that the request as it stands today does meet all the agencies that you see on the slide here, meet their requirements, and appropriate conditions of approval have been drafted to mitigate any impacts. It's interesting that a project of this size received very little public comment, only one in support. We do believe as a department that as long as the applicant can comply with the agency requirements, can construct the shared infrastructure improvements necessary to serve this plat, that the request is consistent and compatible with the existing conditions in the area. The hearing examiner heard this request on June 3rd of this year and subsequently recommended approval. It's interesting that the recommendation by the hearing examiner does note that they applaud the applicant for submitting a major subdivision with phasing plan rather than doing the piecemeal process of doing multiple minor subdivisions through the exemption process, which we have seen throughout the county in the last several years, and it does create a lot of concern for our department as well as public agencies. So this approach of a major subdivision through the phasing process, we find to be a much better approach from a planning standpoint as well as agencies with jurisdiction. I do stand for any questions that you have at this time.
Questions for Vlad? Bill?
No, I have no questions.
Thoughts on as we deliberate?
I don't have a problem with this. They seem to have done everything that the law requires. And I know we hate to see land carved up, but I think they're doing it properly.
Bill?
I would agree. It's something that I don't see, but it's just the fact of time today. The only thing we can really hope for is to keep the go through the process. I do like that you have one major instead of multiple minor.
Okay. I don't have an issue with it either. I think it's interesting that the hearing examiner noted the diligence of the appellant to, address the multi-phase aspect of it, which is nice to see somebody trying to do something correctly. And so I'm fine with it as well. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve case number MSP 20-0002, which is Hoodoo Valley North, a request by JB Dodge Company LLC for preliminary approval of a major subdivision.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Chair Philios.
Aye. And so case number MSP 20-0002 is hereby approved. So that concludes the deliberation segment of our meeting this morning. Moving on to signings. And there's only one. It's case number VAR for variance 21-0005. Gregory and Julie Hasenorl for the following variances on a 0.24 acre waterfront parcel of land located in the restricted residential zone. Vlad?
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, once again, Vlad Finkel. Pursuant to the board's decision last week to approve this request, staff has drafted an order of decision for your review and signing.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move that we execute the order of decision for case number VAR 21-0005, Gregory and Julie, and you want to say that name again? Hasenorl.
Okay. Bill?
Yep. Have those correct pronunciation for the view.
Okay.
Motion.
You second the motion. Okay.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Chair Philios.
Aye. And so we are executing the order of decision. Bill, okay to use your stamp?
Absolutely.
Okay, then. So that concludes the one and only signing for this morning. No updates for community development. And do we have any public comment? Hearing none. 9:20, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
By the way, these microphones, they pick up from quite far away.